Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is one of the many artists that you will meet next week in West Bloomfield Township at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stephen Grieshaber is a wood artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking and joins us now on the Oakland County Megacast. Stephen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
I appreciate having you on. So first off, give us a little bit of insight on how you got into woodworking as your art of choice and kind of what you create.
Okay. Well, I actually was a teacher for 10 years. Me and my wife were both teachers. We lived in various places around the country and taught. I lived in Kansas for 4 years, Houston for 4 years, and taught in Denver as well for 2 years. And then kind of when the pandemic hit, schools kind of removed some positions because they were going online, and I was more of a interactive position. So we actually had 3 babies in 3 years, and we decided to move back home. And God kind of just led me to wood, honestly, and because it's like the purity of it and the beauty of it. And so we just got into woodworking. And I've been studying, self-studying for about 2 years now, 3 years now. And I wanted to be sure to be at expert craftsmanship before I launched our business. So we've been doing jobs for the past 2-3 years. But this is our first summer doing the show circuit. So we're pretty excited for that.
So what about woodworking really drives your passion for it? You said that it was something that you began doing at the beginning of the pandemic. You've only been doing this for a couple of years. What about it really drives your passion?
I really like the naturalness of it. And it kind of is timeless, you know? A lot of trends go in and out, and you got like marble countertops, then, you know, granite, and then or you got stainless steel, black, white appliances. It kind of, you know, the hardwood floors is a good example of just a home thing, was timeless, but and wood just kind of would never lose its, you know, its appeal to me. It's also I like the natural state of it. You know, it's you can just go outside, you see trees, see beauty. So I kind of just like that aspect of it drives me the most, is just the pure beauty and rawness of it.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber. He is a wood artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking and joins us on the Oakland County Megacast. You'll find him next week at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in the heart of West Bloomfield Township, Saturday, July 30th, and Sunday, July 31st, off of on Powers and Daly Road, just off of Orchard Lake Road, heading north toward M10 is where that show is. You can find more information on the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show's website at hotworks.org. Hotworks.org for more information on all the artists and entertainers and other community organizations you'll be able to meet up with at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stephen, as you're approaching your art, obviously if it's a customized piece, you have that blueprint, you have kind of what your customer may want, but in the other aspects of your art, when you have that creative freedom to create whatever's on your mind, where does your approach to creating this wood art begin?
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that because, you know, when I was teaching, I never thought myself as an artist, you know, and now I definitely do. We kind of, you know, think about a lot of our pieces are functional, and they can be tables or they could just be wall art. But even in our tables or a piece like that, a stand or a bookshelf, I think about it as a piece of art. One thing I like to do is just kind of just let the will inspire me and just sit there and, you know, I don't know how it comes to you, and it's just a work of beauty, and you just have a vision. And when you have the means and then, you know, the tools, you're able to put that vision to work. So my brother asked me one day, he said, how much of it is just you staring at a blank wall of your job? And that's a lot of it. But sometimes, you know, you just get a thought and you say, boom. And then a lot of times after I get that thought, I think, how can I make it better? And so we kind of start with a blueprint of a basic framework of idea. And then I look at it and just, you know, figure out ways, how can I just take it to the next level? And sometimes you want things just to be clean and there is no need to take it to any further level. But it's always kind of a work in progress. But, you know, I guess it's kind of like defining love or something. But, you know, you just can't put a definition on it. But when you know it's there, and you go, that's it. It's done. You know, so it's kind of a step-by-step process. But sometimes it's just a vision that you have and it works.
You can learn more information on blessedrootswoodworking.com. That is Stephen's website, blessedrootswoodworking.com, to see all of his pieces and get in contact with him as well. And of course, you can see him on July 30th and 31st at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in West Bloomfield Township. That'll be on Powers and Daly Road. Yes, on the roads themselves. Those will be closed down by the West Bloomfield Police Department, and those are just off of Orchard Lake Road, north of Maple Road, between Maple and M10 in the heart of West Bloomfield Township. Again, Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, July 30th and 31st. More info on hotworks.org for more information on this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. And Stephen, what's great about working with wood is there's so much that you can do with it. There's so many different kinds of wood that each have their own texture and each have their own color and different unique features to it. And then you also go into what you can do working with paint or with epoxy or with different stains. There's so many different avenues that you can go. When you're creating your art, what for you grabs your eye the greatest of all the different things you can do to customize these different pieces?
Awesome. And in a minute, if you have time, I brought some species out to show people, sure, and as well as some epoxy. But one thing I love, the look of the wood is just important to us as the design. I like specialty woods. We used only kiln dried wood. We make sure we have very high quality wood. But even cheaper woods, that aren't as hard, they have a different appeal because they have a different type of beauty necessary. Like poplar has a rich green color, and it's not a rich, expensive wood because it's not hard. But if you're making like signs with it and it stays on a wall, if you have a tone of green that fits, you can use that type of wood. But if you're looking for something maybe on a table, the rich, deep beauty of black walnut is very appealing. But I definitely look at also the grains. I try to find specialty grains, maybe woods with burl in it. And it's funny because I'll look at a piece of wood and I'll be like, that's so beautiful. And I tell my friends or somebody like, look at that wood. And a lot of people are like, it's wood. And I'm like, no, and it's wood. And I heard you mention stains. It's ironic because one of the reasons I got into epoxy is because I will use stains at customers' discretion, but for me as an artist, I stray away from stains because it takes away the beauty of the wood. I like the natural beauty. But a lot of times when we're designing and we're carving into the wood, we want it to show. And if it's all the same color as the wood, it kind of doesn't have a contrast. And that's why a lot of people use stains to give a contrast when they engrave. So what we started doing was we started epoxy filling our engravings. So that way we can keep the integrity of the beauty of the color of the wood, but add that pop and that color appeal. I have some pieces that are stained, but very few. But again, if the customer decided that, again, if the customer and the client, I call them clients, they are, obviously it's their vision just like mine. And that's another thing about our craft, our business is we really pride ourselves in doing custom work. So anything a client desires, we want to be able to bring that to, life. So stains we're not against stains, but we just love the purity of the color of the wood and the grain that you can see. We actually started using dyes instead of stains because it's a good tip for anybody at home because you can still keep the pop of the grain. You see the grain, it soaks into the pores of the wood instead of staying on top of it and covering it. So dyes are kind of a good happy medium in between the two.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber. He is an artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You'll find him in just a week or so from now at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, July 30th and 31st in the heart of West Bloomfield Township. Saturday, July 30th, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. is the art show time. Sunday, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. It's just off of Orchard Lake Road, Powers and Daly Road as you head north toward M10 The Lodge in West Bloomfield Township next weekend, July 30th and 31st. More info, hotworks.org for more information. Stephen, you mentioned that you have some pieces nearby that you will be bringing to this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. If you have a moment, give us a look at some of those pieces and tell us about them.
Yeah, actually, I set up a nice little setup right here. And I'm going to go over three things. I'm going to show some wood slabs. We also specialize in wood slabs. So, people can call us. Black walnut is our specialty because I have a source where I go directly to get black walnut. And I kind of, go on a search for specialty slabs. And some of these slabs took me up to a year and a half to find. So they're very rare and to find. Maybe not, the species might not be rare, but to find them in this type of, setup is rare. I also have some of our pieces that we designed, and I'm going to show a little bit about epoxy. Epoxy is kind of becoming a new, trend, if you want to call it. It's becoming very popular. It's very hard to do. It's easy to do, but it's hard to master. But we love sharing tips as well. So here, let me show you, and I'm gonna educate just quickly about some wood. Let me flip this so we can see. There we go. All right, so I got some slabs set up. And first, I just want to talk about some wood so people at home kind of know, because I didn't know anything about wood before I set up. But there's kind of 3 stages of wood, kind of 4. One is called wet wood. This is just logs you cut down in your backyard. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to cut down the tree and I'm going to make a table in my backyard. And I often have to talk to people. I don't want to bust bubbles, but the problem with that is they can have bugs. And if you see all these little holes in here, this is from bugs coming out of here. So if you put this in your house, bugs, if you see how raw that is, can come out and infest your house. Another thing is you see all the cracks and split in it. It's kind of like a grape turning to a raisin. Over time, this is going to dry. I don't know exact moisture content in 80% moisture in there, and you want to get it down to under 10. So you think about that, 50% of that moisture is going to be coming out. It just dries and crinkles and crinkles. So you're going to have this nice, beautiful mantle or a table in your house, and it's going to last about a year or 2, and it's going to just, crack or move and shift and not be flat anymore. It's no guarantee there'll be bugs in it, but there's always 100% guarantee that it'll shrink and flatten. So be careful using wet wood. There's also what's called air-dried wood. Over time, it dries. And if it's dried significantly, maybe 10 to 20 years, that could work. But it also always has the chance of having bugs in it. So we use kiln-dried wood. They put it in the kiln, and it kills all the cells. So there's no bugs, no movement over time. Then you can get slabs. This is called rough sawn. It's just they cut the slab, and it kind of looks real rough. Then you can get it planed, and it has all the crack, but it's flat. And then what we do is we epoxy fill all the cracks. So if you see all these cracks, over time, they're just going to keep splitting and splitting and splitting, and it's just going to cut your wood in half. So we fill it with epoxy. And then the last step is kind of finished. And this is a finished slab. So you can see all the epoxy is filled in all the cracks. This is called burl. It's kind of movement in the tree. And then we put a finish on it. So this is kind of the levels of wood, and we specialize in black walnut.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber, a wood artist from Blessed Roots Woodworking, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can find more information on all of Stephen's art by visiting blessedrootswoodworking.com. Blessedrootswoodworking.com, or visit him at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show next weekend, Saturday, July 30th, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m., Sunday, July 31st, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Stephen, you mentioned that you just started doing a circuit of different art shows fairly recently. What brings you to West Bloomfield and to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show?
We actually just started, signing up for shows. And one thing is we've been doing a lot of our pieces, and I'll speak just as it goes, but we're doing signs and smaller pieces. And at these other shows, you get to kind of showcase wall art. And a lot of these are functional charcuterie boards, smaller rivers. But we kind of wanted to take it to the next level, kind of artistic touch to it, and start, bringing bigger pieces. So a lot of our specialty slabs we're going to be bringing, and a lot of them we're leaving kind of, I don't want to say blank, because they're all epoxy filled and beautiful as well and be finished. But there's so much that can be done with this from a client's perspective. If they want to get like a bench, we can turn this into a bench. Any of these can be anything: a desk, a bench, a table, a coffee table. We even do up to kitchen tables. But they can design this. I got clients at other shows, and that they really only see our art. But when I talk to them, I get to, bring home jobs that they want to design. But at this show, it's kind of more to the next level of fine art. So we wanted to, really be able to display how furniture, and I don't mean just furniture like couches, but as in like table stands, bookshelves, can be also, functional, but also beautiful art. So that's one of the reasons we signed up for this show, to kind of just bring it to the next level and show what we really can, showcase that can go in your home as beautiful wood art.
We're joined by Stephen Grieshaber. He is from Blessed Roots Woodworking, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. So many great pieces there. And I will say, and I saw the one with the Michigan logo on it, and that's great. You can go ahead and leave that at home. I'm a Michigan State guy, so I would encourage you, go ahead, just leave that at home. I don't think anyone's going to be all too interested in that at this year's art show. Stephen, we appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Thanks for being with us today.
All right, man. Appreciate you having me. God bless, man. And hey, I said it's custom work, so if you want one made Michigan State, you got my website, man. Give me a ring, man.